Hello everybody, I'm here with a Brother HC-1850 computerized sewing machine. Now I have the other one that's a little bit older, and this is more of a newer one, and it has all the different pattern choices here. See, mine has it up here, so it's a little different, but it has the same basic concept. And then this is how you flip over to get to the lettering and all that. So you get the lettering. So you have to go to each symbol, and each symbol is sitting here. So whenever you want to go somewhere, you have to click it to get the symbol to change over, so you can do, different kind of patterns, or, letters and numbers and all kinds of stuff. And then over here, you have this one, and that takes you back to this one. So we're going to basically stay in this one, so we're not going to go anywhere too much. This one has a nice speed control. We're number 2. She's like me, I'm 2. I don't like really slow unless I'm doing detour work. And if I need to go faster to go straight stitch only, I basically use a speed up one. This is for if you're not going to use the pedal and you want to sew. That means it's to start and stop. This is your reverse. This is your lift your needle up in the highest position, okay? This is where you're going to select, okay? This is your length, your width, and this is your selector buttons to select the different numbers across here, okay? And let me think here, because it's a lot like the one I have, so it's easy to run. Here it gives you a diagram on how to drop in this is called a drop-in top feed, okay? And this is the correct way. Remember how I always tell you to hold it in front of you so that it looks like it rolls off the front, which is like a waterfall. And when you place it, it's correctly placed into there, okay? And then when you do that, then you have to send it through all these little compartments, which is right here. And then you cut it off at this little spot here. So it's inside there. The machine will suck it up when it's time to take it up. So you don't have to take it up like the older machines you do. And if you do decide to thread this the wrong way and have the waterfall falling away from you, which is not the way to go, you want to have it come towards you, and you do it that way, it makes all your thread get jumbled up down here, which is not a good thing, okay? All right, so let's going on. Here is this is how would you thread it. This is a newer spool, so you can thread it either or, but I always like to throw them in the back. I'm always that way. That's just the way I did it. And then you thread it through this little hook up here. Before you even go through where the tension's located, which is tension here, you need to make sure you lift up on your foot. You see, get your foot lifted up. It opens the chambers right in there, those little symbol type chambers, and it opens it up so it receives the thread. If it doesn't receive the thread, it'll make it look like your tension's off and all your thread gets stuck at the bottom, okay? And then make sure you cut your tails off on your bobbin. So like when you thread your bobbin, through, and then you're winding it, you want to make sure you cut that little tail off. Sometimes that messes it up down there too, okay? And you come back around, you make sure you can follow these little arrows, go up, and there's your uptake right there. You see the uptake? That's the part that's going to pull it through the machine. So then you goes around, you go up and around and back this way, down, okay, into the hook up here, and then into the needle. Now this does have a threader, and I did actually got the threader to work, which is the way you do it is you pull this down, you put your thread here, and you set your thread in front of the needle, and when you grab, or actually it's right, I don't know if you can see it, but it's got little look like forks, and you put the thread between the forks, and when you lift up like that, it actually threads it, and then you just pull it through. It's pretty much easy. Not that hard. I mean, it's hard to really see it because it's so small. It's easier if you can have your book in front of you and show it that way, because it actually, you can see it looks like 2 little fingers and then 2 more little fingers, and you put the thread, it's going this way, and then you put your thread through that, and that little hook will pull it through. That's the way it works, okay? Then when you're done threading it, you put your foot down, okay? Now, if you decide that you're going to go ahead and you need to make a bobbin, okay? You come up here, and you can thread it off of here, and then you come up here. Instead of threading it here, you come through here, and you go this way, and then back this way around this little guy here. You don't want to go this way. You want to go around that and come back this way. Then you put your thread on here. It shows you how to thread it by, there's like a little hook up on here. See the hook? So when you go and put it through the bobbin, okay, then you just hook it up on one of these hooks instead of have to worry about it. Then you drop it, click it in, and I don't know if this one, no, I don't think, this one's an automatic. So what happens when you click it in, it does not run this machine, it will actually run a bobbin. And you push that in, you hit your pedal, and it'll just fill it up, okay? When you're done, you're going to have a tail left that's going to be hanging. You want to cut that tail off, okay? And then you have that little part that, you need to have it hooked through. So then you click this back and you're ready to go, okay? That's if you have to make a bobbin. Okay, now, if you want to get this thing going, you go over here and there's a little button right here to start it. So you push this little button, it'll come on, do a little jig. And then I do straight stitch. When I do straight stitch, I don't want to do it to 2.5. That's really small. So I go to 4. Okay, 4 is like your almost base stitch. The next one up is your base stitch. This is the one before it. We don't need anything with your width. And we're not taking a pattern because we're going to do this one right here. We're going to do this right here. Now, some people always ask me, does your machine back up? Now, sometimes they can. This one doesn't show it. You can back it up by using the backup button right here. Okay, and you just push it back and forth. So let's get this started so I can show you. Okay, so we got to go forward. We'll find the pedal. Okay, I'm going to go forward like this. Okay. Okay, now you want to back it up. You push this little button right here, and you watch the machine. It'll back up 1. I usually back up twice. Back up twice. Now, some machines have it where you can actually, the machine will back it up like for you before you start. So you start and it just doesn't go forward, it just backs up and then goes forward, okay? This one doesn't do that. You have to do it yourself. Okay, and then if you don't want your foot down, your needle down, you can just push this button here, which then brings it back up, okay? You don't need to mess with this. It'll give you an error if you push it, okay? Because you have your pedal plugged in. If your pedal wasn't plugged in, you want to do without the pedal, then you can just push the button, but we're not doing that, okay? Let's see, let's go further here. We're going to go ahead and do a little sewing. Okay, I lift up the little lever to pick up the foot, and then over here is what you just got done sewing right there, and you look underneath here and it's sewed correctly, okay? Now, let's see, it's hard to see because I'm trying to look through that and trying to talk to you guys. And I always check to make sure when you're zigzagging. Now, the thing is when your tension, she has it up on 4, and this is only cotton, so you really don't need to do that. When you want to change your tension here, okay, this is what you do. You put your foot down, needle up in the highest position, okay? Then you go up here and you can turn it. So I'm going to turn this back down a little bit because it doesn't need to be between the 3 and 4 unless you're doing denim. I'm going to do like a light cotton. This is a thin light cotton. Okay, so we're going to continue. I'm going to kind of go in and do this little thing here I like to do sometimes. There you go. Alright, now let's see if it changed it in any way. So there we go, we got it that way, and then we're going to look at it again. And now it's sewing a little better, because sometimes you have to change your tension, because sewing it too tight or pulls it a little bit, and we don't want it to pull. So that's what we're doing. Now we can put this back down. Now you don't have to mess with this, okay? Let's see, we can just do a little quick pattern. Let's see what we want to do. Well, let's see. There's a lot of them here. Trying to figure out which one I want. We can do leaves. Let me think here. Kite string. I always call that kite string. Look on funky squares. I already did a few. How about the hearts? We'll do some hearts, okay? So what you do is you go here and you look at the number 70. So it means you don't mess with this one. You want to go over here and hit 7 times. 5, 6, 7. There we go. We're on 70. This is actually an N foot she has on it. So, it's supposed to be J, but you can run this one through anything. All right, so now we're going to, oh yeah, if you want to, you can spread it out a little better so you can see it better. So I'm going to give it a couple little hits, and then we'll go ahead and do it this way. Ready? Now the machine's going to run it. You're just going to have to guide it, make it straight and all that. Now it's going to make yourself a little heart. And goes back. And there again. And, you just guide it a little bit, and it doesn't work. A lot of people say, well, the machine keeps getting caught on itself because you have to guide it. If you don't guide your sewing machine, it's not going to go anywhere. You're going to make a big old mess. So you still have to guide it. All right. Now it's always going to go down because it's remembering the pattern. And you're going to push this back up for the foot. And there you go. I made a little bit bigger hearts. Now if I would have didn't change that, it would have came out with tiny little hearts. But I wanted to make big hearts so you can actually see it. So that's basically, it's fun. This is a great one to use for crazy quilting or something like that. So now let's see, we're going to go back to number 5 is my favorite. So that means you're going to hit negative here. So we're going to hit negative, go all the way back down to 0, and then go over here to positive and go to 5. 5. Make sure it's 5. Yep, it's this one. And it says 1, so let's go a little bit bigger. Let's make it a 2. So I can see it better, you know? And then we're going to keep going. Here we go. Okay, and I'm going to probably end it right there so I can have it ready for her for pickup tomorrow morning. And there you go. What do you think? Huh? Doesn't that look really cool? And then you can flip it over and you can look at that way, and it does still have the same pattern, so it looks perfectly fine. And then we're going to like do this, leave the hub down when you're traveling. I always call this a needle hub because the hub is the part that controls everything. So you can actually just leave it down, you know, keeps it in the right place, and it's ready for her to pick up. I'm just going to give it a once over quick wash, since I put my sticker in the wrong spot because this curves too much, makes the sticker wrinkle, so now I have to wash that off. Anyway, but it's ready for her for pickup. Its machine's running perfectly, no issues. She just has to remember whenever she is you know, going to thread it, you know, you make sure your foot is up when you thread. Okay, when you want to move your tension, your foot goes down and the needle comes in the highest position, so everything gets locked in perfectly. That's mostly I tell people to do all the time, because if you don't, you mess it up. And make sure when you make a bobbin over here and it has an extra tail, an extra piece, there's a little tail, and then you want to change and you're going to cut that little tail off. That's an extra tail. You leave the other main one on here, and then you drop it in. Make sure you're holding it, looks like the waterfall in front of you. Then you drop it in here, makes it look like the same way it goes in, and then you slide it through all these things and cut it off, and it's ready to go. So it's a pretty easy machine. So let's go ahead and turn this baby thing off. And I don't know, does everybody have one of these? I mean, it's a lot like the one I have. I think I had mine on the review one time just to show somebody something they needed to know. And if you go to memberships, now everybody's asking me these questions all the time. How do you make a bobbin? How do you, you know, thread this and all that? That's actually shown. I show all that kind of stuff, even how to clean it and everything, on my YouTube channel memberships. So if you go to the memberships and you look under, you can go under learn more about chickens, or you go under learn more about sewing machines, sewing and all that kind of stuff. Then that's where you go. Now, if you want to learn how to use your sewing machine, and if I have that sewing machine, I will do classes on that sewing machine, but it's only through membership only, not just because this is reviews only for the public to see, okay? But most of everything else, I don't even put on there anymore. It's going to be all on membership only. So if you want to know more about a sewing machine, it might even be in there. That's something that you were looking for that you asked me to do on my YouTube channel, which is on there. You just have to go to membership. I think it's like, I can't remember how much that one is. I think it's a little bit more, and a lot of people don't want to pay for it. They think, well, then she needs to just show it. Well, yeah, I could do it that way, but you know, then I don't really get paid for anything to do it that way. So what I decided to do is I do it in membership. You pay a small monthly fee, and that kind of gets you more information on how to, you know, adjust sewing machines, different types of rewinders. I got the old versions to the new versions. And I show you how to use them and stuff like that. So, or if you want to look inside the sewing machine, because sometimes, now I don't crack these ones. These are the ones with the computer in it. I am not a tech. I do not want to erase your sewing machine, so I only do the cleaning. I do there's a cleaning panel down here, a cleaning section here. I clean this section here, and I look down in here. Now some of these Brother sewing machines have a little part here that comes off that you can go down and look into it, but it's nowhere near the computer. So this one's in the computer's right about here. So that's why I can't crack these. So if this ever gets broken, I'd send you somewhere else, because I can't mess with your computer. I'm only a mechanic, so I just prefer not to go in there and mess around with your computer. Now, Brother sometimes will let me go in. they'll give me schematics, all kinds of information for me to do, because I had plugins. The plugins over here are right here, and the one back there had discs attached, and I had to go inside the machine to tell me how to do it and everything, and I did it, and I got them running again, but they make you sweat like crazy. But if you have one like this, I'd like to hear from you. I want to know where you got it. Somebody bought it for you. Maybe you bought it, or maybe it was a handy-down, okay? Just let me know. And if you have any issues or major problems, I can sometimes answer them, but I can't show you anything because this is not my sewing machine. This is someone else's sewing machine, and all I'm doing is, giving her a deep cleaning and checking the sensors and things like that to make sure they're really good and clean for people to be able to, get their machine back and be able to run it so that they don't have any issues with it. Okay, now if you break something like the hub or something major that's connected to the computer, I can't really fix that because it'll mess up the computer. So we prefer not to do that. If you need anything else about the computer or sewing machine, if you want to purchase one, I could say these are actually really good for when it comes to a brother sewing machine. I really like them. But it's like everybody keeps asking me all the time, well, this is Singer and this is that and this. I tell them, since Singer has been bought out and now it's being owned by another company, I might be able to do more with Singer, but right now I still can't really do too much with Singer. But it might change, so who knows, okay? Anyway, have a great day, and have a blessed day, and like the video, comment if you have one, okay? Talk to you later. Bye-bye.